Seconds. And hey team, how we going? We are live. Have a bit of shrapnel up your clacker from the Western Trenches, Beersheba, Israel. That's where it's from. Guys and gals, great to have you here. Tonight is going to be 80% about you, but a little bit about chain of command, what it means. Do you see the smartness of the chain of command there? Chain of command with General Mark Milley with a potato head, okay, not being at the top of the chain, not being at the top. That'll become more apparent as we speak in a moment. We've got lovely Lauren here.
I'm here.
For her second stream of the day. For those that missed it, join her channel.
Yeah, indeed. It was great. Thanks for helping me.
It was good. It was a good conversation. Next time we're going to try and get Mr. Buckaroonie there and some other well-loved Australian YouTubers in the Brady Bunch setup.
Yeah, let's do the full Brady.
We shall. Tonight we've got some good information. We're going to talk about the chain of command, how it affects you. We're going to talk about the new Orcas between Australia, US and UK, what it means to you. We're going to talk about the chain of command, how it's coming next, and a whole host of other things. Well, we also congratulate Calpe for his official date of 6th of October for his Army Reserve enlistment day. We've got Aaron McCarthy here. We've got Jack Boys. We've got Daniel Clark. Sounds great, mate. I was so close to going cab, but then off a slot in engineers. I think he means Cav. Xbox Kid, second time here today. Good to have you here, mate. Bit of shrapnel for you yourself. And we've got lagging.
Wait,
as soon as we talked about this subject. Wakey vids. Not so cow. Guys and gals, a lot of this is about the subject we're talking about. You got to remember that this man, has broken every rule of the leadership, and at the moment is being protected by the Democrat Party of the USA. Funny enough, that starts to affect our stream. Excellent. Mr. Adventure, good to have you here from Bundaberg. I've got a girl that I'm very fond of that lives in Bundaberg. Yeah, very fond of. We've got Wakey Vids here who threw a 3,000 person worth of shekels at the stream, which has made it more than worth it. Thank you very much. 299 because one was too fat to make it to Thermopylae and stop the Persians. Tactic Nick said in New Zealand accent, tactic knock.
Yep.
Ibrahim,
Ibrahim.
My eyes are failing me, man.
That's Ibrahim. I just usually call him Ibrahim in the chat. Ibrahim Sanko.
Okay. And he's got nothing but smiles, and he's a member, and I'm in the Gentleman of the King's Cross. We've got Redman. It's been a while, mate.
Yep. There's Jack Boys is here.
Jack Boys is here. We saw him before. We got Blinky B. Great conversation we had a couple of days ago. We've got Jack Boys just got his apprenticeship as a butcher. One day you're going to have children, and no one messes with a butcher's daughter.
That's right. Exactly.
Talking about that, can we make the thought tonight, the prayers go out to something else we're going to talk about in 2 seconds, something very sad, Nicole King, very, very sad. But what's the name of that lovely girl that's gone missing in the USA, the YouTuber?
Oh, Gabby Petita, I think it is.
Petita, yeah.
Oh,
Went on a trip with her. This won't even make sense to your team. Went on a across the road van trip like they do on YouTube, recording it all. All of a sudden, she stops being one of the people involved in it. He comes home by himself in the van, and he's not behind bars, and he's not cooperating with police.
He won't even talk to the pool. Went on a cross-country trip. One person came home. The other hasn't been seen or heard since, and that person who came home won't even talk to anyone.
I'd hold the very drone he got his footage with on high power on his ball sack. Look, something like that until he talks.
Unfortunately, that's not legal, is it?
Yeah, well, that's all right. It's my daughter, Dads
enough.
are meant to be in jail when their daughters are, given strife. Strike W. Sorry, it's not a lot, but I want to say thank you. Mate, there's been times when I haven't got $2 in my wallet. So $2 is fantastic.
And how many views that? How many views is $2?
That's 2,000. 2,000 views on the Australian algorithm.
Yep.
Not to be Charmaine Fox.
And Fox.
Charmaine from Fox News throws 8,000 shekels. That's Israel coin.
Yep, exactly.
Picture 8,000 people in one room, or the 10,000 people at the moment on the Texas border that are trying to get across, that they're trying to get blocked from getting footage of. It's happening right now because they made the call that they're not going to send people home. They're all from Haiti. Very sad when good people in adverse conditions follow their last hope to give their family a better day, only to travel great distances to be part of a political spectrum.
Yeah.
Very sus, says Brady. Yeah, mate. Yeah, I can't believe that he's not in cuffs, that lad.
No, exactly. Well, they said they can't right now because it's still a missing persons case.
Yeah, but this is what I don't understand, and common sense says to me. Until you can tell me where she is, what happened, and you start cooperating, you can spend some time with Bubba, and you're going to be on the bottom bunk, son. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if Bubba can get it out of you.
Yep.
Where she last saw her. That's all they want him to say.
Yep, send him down to Daz.
He's making himself look very guilty.
And the fathers are big boys too. They'll get the answer out of him.
I think they want to by the looks of them at the press conferences.
Yeah. Simon Powell's here. It looks like we need to buy Kaz some glasses. I've got some glasses here, mate, but I don't want the girls to swipe left on me.
Oh, come on.
Basically. Look. Joking. There we go. I said look 10% smarter. For those that didn't know that weren't on the stream today, this used to be part of my fringe. My daughter has really been feeling the pinch of this online schooling and homeschooling that has now hit the 3-month mark for those based out of Sydney. And the only way I could cheer up was to let her basically disfigure her dad's hairline.
Yeah.
She did that. It cheered her up, made her happy. Dad's got to do what a dad's got to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't look too bad.
No, it does. You're being nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Joshy Fawns, he looks guilty. Yes, he does.
Yeah. Some folk are talking about what we talked a little bit about today in my stream about Mr. Biden forgetting ScoMo's name.
Yep. And you know what? He, like we said in Lauren's stream, he forgets his wife's name and sometimes his own. You know, it's crazy.
W's got a question there.
Yeah, go.
He said, hey, Kaz, what do you think of Orcas and the thought of getting nuclear subs and the thought of how we scrapped the deal with France with buying other subs?
Well, I'm glad you asked because it was a complete fiasco what happened with France, and it was going to continue costing the taxpayer billions of dollars, and we were never going to get the submarines in the water. You know, it's like buying a 9-year-old Commodore and going, now I'm going to race the newest version of. It's just not going to happen. So, okay, what I thought about the nuclear submarines, and here's some take into account. I don't think Jacinda Ardern had actually done her due diligence as the New Zealand Prime Minister equivalent, which is the reason why New Zealand and Canada, too woke, have been completely left out of the new treaty, which used to be the Five Eyes, etc., and now they've been left out. AUKUS is now Australia, UK, and USA, which sends a shot over the bow of the red corn chip to say, hey, we are, renewing our friendship, our alliance, etc. Yeah. Now, the thing with these submarines, you need to understand, there are 6 countries that have nuclear submarines, and those countries are, they might surprise you, some of them.
Yeah, I would blue.
We have the red corn chip.
Okay, of course.
We have India. We have UK, we have France, we have USA, and we have Australia. And guess what? Yep. Every one of them is on the same side except for one.
Yeah.
And that one we surround. Now, what's the go with the nuclear submarine? Something you may or may not know. What's the difference between a diesel submarine, which we currently have, and what we're trying to get into the water, so to speak, and that of a nuclear submarine? A nuclear submarine, is bigger. It has nuclear reactors on it. It has enriched uranium inside it. The uranium inside a nuclear submarine is enriched to 20% to fuel the engines, so to speak, the steam engines that creates the energy, as opposed to 90% of enriched uranium it needs to be able to be weaponized. So we're 70% off being a nuclear weaponized submarine. That's not what it is. It's nuclear powered, which means it never has to refuel, ever. So in some ways we save money. Not so much. Because the submarine costs more, it will be bigger, which is great for those that sleep inside it, because a fart can't go back in the arse.
No, it can't.
And it stays imprisoned until it goes up and refuels. Allows air in. But it doesn't need to when it's a nuclear submarine, because they're able to recycle that air basically permanently. And the only reason they'd come up is for mental health for the sailors within. Whereas a diesel submarine needs to surface to allow the air to be filtered out, the carbon dioxide, etc., to let fresh air back in, to wipe the scurvy off the faces of those that live within the land of the drop soap. Mr. Adventure.
Mr. Adventure with a green cow.
Green cow, noob. Me or you?
Noob.
Not Sue Cow. Not Sue Cow, mate. Great to have you here. Thank you for the dineros that goes to the half-cooked chicken that I like to have for breakfast. Thank you very much, mate. You're keeping the White Warrior in place. So that's what the go is. So when people say there's a nuclear submarines, they're not nuclear weapon submarines. And you know what? You shouldn't have a problem with that either.
Yeah.
Because the country that we're potentially up against, says Peter Dutton today, said Lauren, don't take off the list of possibilities that we could be a threat force with the land of MSG.
That's what they're saying. That's what Peter Dutton came out and said today, that he doesn't want everyone to get that from their minds. It is still very much a possibility. And
of course it is. But the pendulum is all swinging around one specific area, and that is Taiwan. But you know what? What bigger act of WAR has it been than the actual release of COVID from the Wuhan laboratory?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How does it get worse than that?
How does it get worse than that? Can we just catch up on chat for a second?
Yeah, we've got the Northern Parrot here. And wait a second. Not Sue Cow. You don't need to do that, Kane. Okay, I know at the moment that you're in between work at the moment. So please, mate, don't dig into your pocket. Yes. You don't need to, sir.
$80, Michael. Exactly. He does. He's not even allowed to leave his street, not even allowed to leave his house at the moment.
Very, very true, Kane and Peppers. Very true. We've got Monty's 420. Nuke subs are only limited by the food it can carry. Exactly right. Yep. Beef jerky for everyone. Some sad news for those from Patreon. Daz today let the cows out that we got it for his farm while he's trying to get the funding for the super farm down in South Australia. And sadly, one of the calves that got up this morning, got on the artificial tit, sucked the milk out of it like a lot of the people around Australia on the welfare agency. And something happened. He came back and little girl had died. Okay, for those that don't know, it's a calf, and it was Allie, the one that I'd named after my daughter. So we believe she might have been bitten by a snake.
Oh, that's really sad. That made me sad today.
Yeah, me too.
That's living off the land.
It is. It is. Hey, Dave Penson becomes a member again. Not Sue Cow. Thank you, mate. Someone from Vietnam following our channel.
I know, it's so cool, isn't it?
It is cool.
Yeah.
Bounky, g'day. Good to have you here again, mate. He's always here anyway. Xbox Kids, Kaz can't find nuclear subs by searching for radiation in the water. Kaz, they can... I don't know, mate. I don't know. Who knows?
How that works.
Who knows? There's something to counter everything, isn't there? But let's talk about chain of command quickly. The chain of command, so you understand, guys and gals, is almost everywhere we work is a dictatorship, especially in the private industry. Yep. There is a transaction between the top of the pyramid, which is the CEO, the commander-in-chief, so to speak.
Yep.
Unless he gives you the ability to speak on something or authorization, or you to give him the heads up that I made this executive command in the absence of you being here just to let you know, thank you, wait next time. Yep. It's a crime. In the army, if you roll your eyes, you get charged. It's called insubordination. If you answer back and you're told to shut up, then that's insubordination. Anything that you do is considered insubordination if it is one rank above what you are. If you're a private soldier and you are spoken to by your section commander and another section commander tells you to do something and they're the same rank, you can look back and forth, look at your section commander, and he should deconflict with the opposite section commander. But anyone above you within your call sign is above that command. We've got a special jail just for it.
Yep.
But it feels so funny that we will absolutely jump on the Mr. Buckaroonies, on the Dean Caswells, and we will issue, strong words and also disciplinary action, yet it feels like when the people are at the very top, there's nothing occurs. You're looking at Mark Milley at the moment. Now, what's come out, if you looked at this 100 years ago, this man would be standing on a gallows at the moment with a rope around his neck.
Yep.
Because what happened, in case you don't know, is, and this is also the man behind the debacle of the withdrawal of Afghanistan. Okay, this is the guy that while the commander-in-chief, the last president of the USA, was still in power, this guy didn't have faith in him and used an emotional decision to call his counterpart from the Red Corn Chip personally. Actually, the call came back, but he assured him that I will warn you out based on what this commander-in-chief does, and I have made sure that the people in my command will do what I say, not what he says. The Secretary of Defense at the time, Mr. Miller, has come out and said, I did not give him permission to make that decision. Why is that important? Because, funny enough, it's the politicians are the reason why a conflict occurs in the first place. They take the volunteers from the society, from the community, the best of the people, the sheepdog, and they send them off to clean up the mess. But they still outrank those that fight on their behalf. So the only two people that could have spoken and said to to Milley here, Mark Milley, the commander of all forces USA, the only people that could have given him the command to do that was that, in fact, Secretary of Defense and also the commander-in-chief. Neither gave that. And then he didn't say, hey, I went and spoke to these people and said, this is what I'm going to do. So he was deeply insubordinate to the point of treason, giving information to a hostile power behind the back of his own boss, his own country, his own tax-paying citizens. He is not an elected official. He is a government servant.
Yeah, it is so outrageous. I didn't know anything about it or understand it until you explained it to me. And then it was so outrageous I could hardly even compute what he'd done and why nothing was happening. Why nothing was happening.
Because it was anti-TRUMP.
Yeah, JP just said he looks a bit like Prince Andrew. He does. He does. True. But yeah, everyone's repeating the same sort of things. Like Steve B says that's a coup. And
because he went face to face to people within his cabinet to say, look me in the eye now and tell me you understand what I'm saying. Like handing them, what used to happen is you'd hand the sword to someone, they'd hand the sword back to you.
Yeah.
And that was where you could look them in the eyes, take the sword back off them, and that says my allegiance is with you. I am your servant.
Yeah, exactly. Dave D said treason became a way of life in certain circles in the USA.
It's horrible.
Yep.
Because the thing is, with this, and the way it works in the military, because let's look at, there's a chain of command in the police force, there's a chain of command in the military, there's a chain of command in a tattoo shop, isn't there, Lauren?
Oh, yeah, for sure there is. Oh, yeah, it's actually really quite strict in the tattoo shop. When you walk in as a customer, you don't realise it, but there's a very tight pecking order, and it runs that way for a reason. Otherwise, the whole shop wouldn't run. You've got your owner, and then you might even have a manager, and then you've got the top artists, which are the best artists, all the way through to the youngest or the least experienced apprentice. And that apprentice at the bottom has to do everything even the other apprentice tells them to do, you know, but you'd never get an apprentice telling a quite capable artist what to do.
That's true.
It would be chaos. It would be chaos. I wouldn't have a business.
Yep. And eldest, give me 2 seconds. I'll be with you, mate.
Yeah, because it's about responsibility and duty.
It is. I just realised what I haven't got on here.
What haven't you got?
Is where are we? I can't even see it. Browser source, image slideshow, game capture.
What are you looking for?
Alerts.
Oh, you didn't even have the alerts on.
Oh, no, I haven't got them on here because of...
Oh, your Streamlabs.
Because my Streamlabs got broken down the other day. Anyway, so, wait a sec, two questions. I'll come back to this. Eldest, thank you very much for the dinero. Not so cow. 5,000 followers right there watching from the stands as we speak. Hey, Kaz, looking to join the ADF. This is an excellent question because I'll be able to explain it quite quickly.
Yep.
Hey, Kaz, looking to join the ADF, but I have a temper. Okay, that can be considered part of a mental health problem. It can also be considered an immaturity problem. That can occasionally flare up when really stressed. What will that be a big issue? It could get you punched out. You know, that can happen. You're not the toughest guy there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it could get you charged. It could get you put in jail. It could get you kicked out. But to tell you the truth, don't worry about it because guess what? That might be with people you have a hard time tolerating, but when you become part of a team, when you actually understand the reason you're getting yelled at, when you take accountability from the chain of command that I did a action that caused a reaction, which is the reason why I'm getting yelled at, as long as it doesn't manifest that you become a bully to those around you, to your own team, you know, or become erratic and look like a weirdo around weapon systems.
Yep.
But if you say that at your assessment day for your psychology assessment, you will never have a job within the military. They will say that you have a problem with emotion, and they will say this horse is not worth backing. So be very careful what you say. Okay, mate? But other than that, you'll believe in what you're training. You'll have a lot of that energy will be spent during PT, you know, or doing push-ups. I have an anger problem too. It's fine. I found ways around it, and I knew it wasn't other people's fault.
As long as you can still control yourself, you can deal with your anger at your leisure.
It's true. Guess who's here?
Kirsten.
The Brady Bunch. Not so cow. The Brady Bunch.
Oh, Brady, I didn't even see that. A green cow slipping through.
Thank you very much for the 5 shekels there. 500 shekels.
It's a great comment because it's important.
You wouldn't be here if we didn't stick to the tough issues, because the tough issues are what give you a reason to have the viewpoints that you have in the desert of emotion that we have these days, where people are so nervous to step out of place because of the reaction that happens by people that think wokeness is now some sort of religion, or the fact that people wake up actually believing they're guilty of something because the world used to be different 70 years ago. Mate, happy to cover the issues you want. Absolutely.
Exactly. Strike W has said, hey, Kaz, got 5 weeks left until Kapuka. Getting excited more and more each day and can't wait to fulfill my dreams of Kapuka and join the army.
And fantastic for that, but guess what? What an unusual time to join. Because you might think at the first, I'll be with you in 2 seconds there, Kristen. You might be stoked to hear that you're going to go home for Christmas, depending on where from Australia you're from, but you're not going to want to. You're going to be at Kapuka going, I just want to get this out the way. Don't make me come back and get that stupid haircut again. You're going to get that stupid haircut again. But you'll be at home for Christmas, half qualified from Kapuka, with half your stories out the way, and you should spend that time, don't pull the fat cord, okay, spend that getting physically fitter while having good food, good sleep, and good family time, and some friend time as well.
Exactly. Simon Powell is off to have dinner, so see you, Simon.
Simon, you got to go without it. Eat before the stream.
You need to eat something.
Okay, this is not about you, mate.
I don't want him to just end up with, like, a real eating disorder. Come on now.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't get to eat on the days before the stream. You probably didn't know that.
Is that true?
What?
That's not true. You're pulling my leg again.
No, I never have dinner on the stream nights.
Do you not?
If I do, it has to be nuggets or something like that, because you've got to have the thumbnail. You've got to have the homeschooling. It's got to be over. You've got to spend time with Ali. You know, the things that matter. You've got to find the content. You've got to watch videos on what you need to do. And I live by myself. You know, this is starting to sound like a horror story, isn't it?
Here's an interesting question.
Yep.
From Residential Yeti 1.
You can't beat that name.
No, it's a good name. He said, if he was someone under your command, what would their punishment be?
It'd always be push-ups. It could be go out there and get attacked by fucking plovers. You know, it'd be something that you would not expect and something you won't get from anyone else. The one thing that I was really big into was illegal punishments. What they call as illegal punishment is weird because officers do it to other officers and it's no drama. Just you're not allowed to do it as an NCO because it could come back and get an officer in trouble, and they're more politician than what they are leader a lot of the time. You've got to ask someone when they join the army, why did you go to become an officer? Why did you go to become an OR? When people go to become an OR within the chain of command, there's a thing called pole smoking. And that is what that guy did on SAS Australia when he's going, oh, how would you do it, a big bloke like you and all that sort of stuff, sucking up to staff. That is not tolerated. That is the worst reputation you can have, is either a jackman or a brown nose to the staff. It's the opposite within the officers, because they will demand that you be a sycophant for them a lot of the time, you know, to cover what some of their maybe, because you've got to remember they get promoted on time, not based on merit. Officers up to a certain rank.
Right, okay.
And you see them in the mess and they're not even allowed to tell their boss that he's wrong.
Oh, that's awful.
It is, because it means we don't see the best of leadership come out or the moral courage. So then you end up with someone like this guy, Mark Milley, at the very top. And when you're part of the chain of command, this is the deal. And David know about this. It doesn't even necessarily matter what your reason is for doing something. It comes down to the proofs within the military justice system. Did you do it or didn't you? And I don't want to know what your mitigations are. We haven't asked you that yet. Did you do it? I did, but shut up.
Yeah.
You said you did it. You're sacked. Your job is gone. Or you're going to jail. The feelings are not included in that. Your defence officer, okay, he will come in then with mitigation saying, Mark Milley did this because of. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
You did it like a sly little rat. And then you followed it up with extreme, what would you call it? Incompetence.
Right, yeah.
With the withdrawal, and now we have 13 lives, plus people stuck in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but how many really?
And how many strikes? You don't get strikes. You know, you get one.
Yeah, exactly. When there's a reason that you get the perks of being higher on the chain of command. And that is meant to be because you bear more responsibility.
The burden of command.
Exactly.
Like I've got up here, there's no friends up here. You become a politician, people are always waiting for you to fall.
Exactly. And, you know, it's the same in any business, actually. It's not even just, you know, unique to the military.
No.
It's the same in the tattoo shop. The higher up you are, the more responsibility you have.
Wait 2 seconds. Cane and Peppers. No, it's a cow.
Mr. Peppers. And he's got a question with it.
Okay.
It says, Kaz, what do you think will be the consequences for his actions? He wants to know what he thinks going to happen to him.
If it was up to me, and I'd be willing to do it, tighten the rope, pension gone, and, okay, everyone learn a lesson from this guy, if it was up to me. And that he'd had the proper trial, because he still deserves his defence. And that occurred. To aid and abet a hostile nation behind the eyes of the commander above you, this is where it becomes dangerous at Cane and Peppers. Or if you're at the top, you know, or near the top, I've got him not on the top. You can see the chain. There's still room to go because President was above him. if you don't do that because your feelings say don't do this, then what happens to the person below you if they don't believe in you? And then the person below them, and then the person below them, and the person below them, and that goes all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. So what will happen to him?
What should normally happen is straight away he should have potentially been stood down as an officer. Come in here. You're not wearing a uniform now. You're going for a court-martial. Yeah. Okay, you get a defence team, and you're going to explain yourself. And he has to explain himself under Congress at the moment. This is how big this is. He's actually meant to be getting pulled over the coals by Congress over his debacle of Afghanistan to say, is this your fault or is this Joe Biden's fault? But now this has come up. They're going, well, now there's something even bigger on top of that. So add those together.
So what happened to him? Is there going to be any action taken against this man?
At the moment, he's getting support from the Democratic Party and CNN and other politicians. He was covered. The book is called Parrot. The reason this came out, they've known about this for a long time. There's a book coming out already, or it comes out tomorrow or something, called Parrot. And that is made by Bob Woodward and Rob Costa, who is a journalist. Now, Craig Miller was the Defence Secretary at the time, and Mark Esper was the actual standing guy who was all behind it. That's because they were part of the deep state that were trying to overthrow what was occurring, because this happened before the election, the current election that's got Mr. Biden in.
Yeah.
So there is so much malfeasance in this that he played the alliance card. He thought he could see the way the cards were going to fall, so he started backing who he thought was going to be the winner. And so he stepped in there and made himself the politician, which you are, in case you don't realise. Once you get a certain rank in the army, an officer fails to be an infantry officer, a transport officer, a Navy ship captain, admiral, etc. Then they become a politician when they're in their red tabs, etc. So remember that they become callous. You should never be allowed to have a job again. After you have made it to certain levels of the military, there is too much that can be used, i.e. for acquisitions. That while they're still up in those areas acquiring submarine contracts worth $90 billion.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were the military member in charge of acquisitions that helped with the gaining of that contract. You don't think someone's not going to try and grease the wheels between the redback and the lynx? Are they going to try and grease the wheels? So therefore you take away that temptation. Once you get to a certain level, we will retire you. You will be on a pension. You will have a piece of the land on the Yarra Valley, and you will live out your time as a thankful servant of the state. Well done. Don't allow them to use their military power to be able to prop them up into a political power.
Exactly. We're seeing too much of that, aren't we? Even in Australia a little bit in the last, say, decade, we've seen a bit of that. And it's very frightening.
It is.
I don't like it at all.
There's a real problem when people aren't held to account. And in the military, that is supposed to be where the buck stops, where the most brutal lack of feelings. And you could look and say, at the moment, we have a military system which is continually allowing the standards to drop.
Yep.
Now, someone should be able to be pulled across the coals over that, go and explain to me where you think that you have enough power that you can degrade the capabilities of our military.
Yeah, who are you working for?
Yeah, did you make this decision?
Yeah, exactly.
No. Well, what's happening? How come our people get to leave Kapuka unable to pass a fitness test?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
Why are you dropping the standard to meet a quota instead of a capability? Okay, if you don't agree with it, then why don't you let us know as the head man that work needs to be done, that we need to do something? Why are you causing so much division, which is making the volunteers either stop volunteering or start looking at each other as going, well, what about me? It isn't fair, Shannon Knoll.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying there?
Exactly.
What about me, the song? Great song.
Yeah. About me.
Charmaine Fox, good way of looking at it, Stoddy. Less people to point the finger to and blame them. Manly or Roosters? Or Manly, they're pretty privileged where they live.
Yeah.
They can afford to lose and then go for a surf.
Hey, Leo Wanker, stuntman for life's here.
I'm going to go with Leo, not because he's a wanker and so am I, but because Manly. Yeah, I'll go with Manly. No, I can't. I've got to go to the Roosters. Do you know why?
Why?
Red, white and blue. I'll go with the Aussie colours instead.
Okay.
Yeah. Tank Killer. That's a good name. That's so true, unfortunately. Nicole King, Mr. Bucket needs to be Manly. Otherwise, I will hear about it for ages in the house and not from me. That's all right. Kobe, I'm in the same boat as well. We'll miss the end of it. Guys and gals, talking about Kobe. What the hell happened in SAS Australia? Who expected Kobe to bullshit and then to actually say things like, you know what, I can be dishonest most of the time, but this is just the way it's going to be. I feel like going, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't claim to be the fittest there and then cheat at fitness.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering how long do we get off during the Christmas period for basic training, and do you think we should be done
doing that during Christmas time?
Look, this is uncharted territory like it was last year, Strikey. Strike a light, if you will. Press like if you can, team. We're down on the likes tonight. It all depends on where you are in Australia, whether there's going to be lockdown, further lockdown, etc. I believe you're all getting your inoculations, getting the jab, I believe, at the start of Kapuka. So by rights, they should be allowed to send us home. I don't know. And that's all going to depend on where your home location is. Previously a mechanic and prior a nurse. I love nurses and they loved me. Accountability was essential, yes, to not get the job done and not killing someone. Yep. And Charmaine Fox can even tell you there's a pecking order, okay, a direct pecking order inside an operating theatre.
Oh, for sure there is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that pecking order tells you, unless you have something to say, you shut your goddamn mouth. So everything you say is something that is essential. So when you talk, okay, and I look around and get eye contact with you, you're about to tell me something I need to know that you're distracting me from right now. Yep.
Yeah.
And any private soldier at any time can speak up and tell you, boom, if it is credible information that is going to change the mission right now. It's not just shut up because you rank. It's shut up because we have people that need the least amount of tactical dilemmas to be occurring around them while they're making complex decisions in a shortened timeline with minimum amount of information coming in. Sensory overload is a way to destroy the plan during CMAP, combat military appreciation process of your opponent. And the best person of that, at that, was Julius Caesar.
Yep. Good night, Cone and Peppers.
Cone and Peppers.
Yeah.
Mate, hopefully tonight you think of our little beautiful calf alley that has now gone into the land of kebabs.
Yeah. There's Eldest again with another donation.
Thank
enough from you.
Thank you, sir. Not the type to throw a punch, just grind my teeth. Okay, that's, again, is still considered insubordination, mate. Be careful. And do just, if anything, I use the anger as a motivator. Just need a goal. Look, it's not like being at school, mate. It's not like being an apprentice and getting spoken to. Shit, you'll know when you're guilty of something. You know, when Mr. Buckaroon, if he turns around and yells at me, then chances are it's because I know I've done something wrong, I've been caught for it, or he needs me to move right now. Yeah. When we do an attack, their eldest, I will use and call you at times the C word. I will tell you I'm going to kick your head in if you don't pick your gun up and get it moving. And then at the end of it, when it's all done, you'll end up with a hand on your shoulder going, wasn't that awesome? And because you're used to it and you get trained in that, you will love that. You'll understand that, and that is tackling fuel. It ain't personal unless it's because you pull the fat cord and you continually treat yourself like a garbage tip and then are unable to do your job because we travel at the speed of the slowest person. And that is the danger when someone within the chain of command makes decisions that allow us to drop the capability to move at the speed of the slowest, because people will never reach above a standard. Normally they will reach down to the minimum standard, enough to keep out of trouble, so to speak. And if 99 people exceed the expectation and one person does not, the 99 still have to travel at the speed of the one that does not. And that will invoke anger. Believe me. Yep.
Yeah, indeed. Mr. Cochroonies said a really interesting thing. He said, how is our country still functioning with this Mexican beer bullcrap? How are people paying their bills?
I ask this all the time, Buck. I really don't know. Because I've had some big conversations with people where they're going, but the economy will bounce back. I'm going, what are you talking about? There is people within the private sector or people with ABNs that have employed people and thought this would be over before it is, that have held people too long, that are not going to get reimbursed. They'll never get this money back. They've mortgaged their house.
Maybe even gotten into more debt just to try and keep their heads above water.
Relationships broken up, substance abuse happening at home, lost all their stock, and then kaboom. And class fluidity have gone downwards. Still stuck with the same motivation, still have the same IQ, but lost all of their ability financially to be able to pick themselves back up, and no one's ever going to say sorry, and no one's blaming the corn chip where it came from. And that's what I don't understand. Watch the money, track the money, and you will find out what's really going down. Because I smell a rat, and it's close.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Me too. Hey, Keely's here.
Hello, lovely Keely. That's the second time she's been with us today.
Yeah, she's so lovely. I could spend all day with Keely. I never get sick of her.
This is a great question from Adam Cameron. That's two first names. Don't confuse me, mate. Don't confuse me. And while you're doing that, Jack the guy, bam. Not too cow done slowly.
He had a question before, as he hasn't put one in the donation. Why don't I read it?
Wait 2 seconds till I just hit Adam Cameron first.
Okay.
Kaz, what's your thoughts on Manu, the chef, quitting without even having a crack at the task? I said the other day, when we covered Who Dares Wins Australia SASR, that I used to laugh at Ant Middleton when he said this is not a game. And go, it absolutely is a game. But then I thought to myself, no, it's not a game. Because to us it's a game, but to every contestant that went on that, they had to be a celebrity of some sort, whether it be Grant and Lisa Kenny's son, whether it be Kobe Appleton, whether it be politicians, Hassar, compulsive liar, whether it be Sam Burgess. All of these people have gone on this show, and everything you've ever known about them is now rubbed aside, and you will judge them on now. So no one saw Cuddly Manu. What they saw was anxiety, shitting himself, not capable, falling on your ass, quitting Manu. So that means when he goes into MasterChef next and he tells them, take the pressure, clock's coming down, they're going to go, who the fuck are you to talk to, quitter?
Exactly.
You didn't even give it a go. I feel sorry for him because I really like Manu. I really do. And he shows parts of his personality, which I really, really, really like. But he made a big mistake by not having a go. And if he'd watched the first season, the first thing they're going to hit you with in this show, one, is I'd like to call this, Lauren, the trinity of phobias. Small spaces, heights, and water.
Yep.
He's already done them. He's done them. But now he's quit. So now is the endurance and the breakdown phase and the emotional phase. He would have been okay. I reckon he would have been good to go. But he was quickly just, I've got nothing to prove. I've got nothing to prove. And you go, if you got nothing to prove, why were you crying to your family on the phone? You realise you failed, bro.
Yeah, what was the challenge?
The challenge was they had to get in a car and do equivalent to Hewitt helicopter underwater escape training, get lowered into in a Land Rover. And even when they failed it, they weren't kicked off. It was just, you're a dickhead, get up the back. Go and think about it. he should have had a go, and I'm sure that if you could turn back time, sure, she should shut up. She thinks she's a politician with a plastic head. She looks more like Mask than Rocky Dennis. But, you know, I still love Manu, but this is going to affect him big time in the future because now he's re-stamped what his personal character is, and it might not be bankable anymore.
Yeah, it might have damaged his brand there.
Where's Chongo? Jack,
the guy, asked, will Army cadets get me ready for the military?
Yes and no. It will teach you about the teamwork. It'll teach you about the hierarchy. There is a chain of command within cadets. You know, it doesn't enforce the standards in a lot of the areas at the levels that will be enforced, within the military complex itself. Also, there is levels of Children of the Corn meets Lord of the Flies that happen in some less reputable units of cadets, where cadets are leading cadets, children are leading children, and sometimes they take them down the wrong alley, so to speak. So don't worry about it. Take your time. You know, and when you're ready, 18 or 19 years old, start looking at, if you still want to, and your parents still back you, and you're fit enough, and that's what you want, then think Army, Navy, and possibly Air Force. Okay? It's not a rush. What a cool name, Ray May.
Ray May.
Can you please read that? I'm done.
Hey, I have a question regarding joining and medical assessment. I have a full set of dentures, top and bottoms, no implants, no wisdom teeth. Nutrition isn't affected. Will this impact my ability to join?
I would love to know the story behind that. I don't know if they've ever encountered that before, mate. How old are you? I really don't know, because dental is a big factor. Yeah. One of the first things, guys and girls, in case you don't know, when you get in the military, don't get your effing teeth taken out before you go to the military, because guess what? It's almost mandatory that all of you will get your wisdom teeth out whether you want to or not when you go to the Army. Yeah. Which will give you a Peter Pan jaw like me, which means you'll get swiped left by the girls that you wanted to kiss behind the bloody bleachers. It's not fair.
Come on now.
I look like I'm meant to be playing the flute.
Oh, no, come on. There's nothing wrong with flute players.
Not the flesh flute.
Oh, good grief. I didn't know what you meant. Okay, Jaden Bickley has asked, hey, Kaz, is the Australian Army chain of command any good?
It's excellent. You've only got to look at the Australia's, Australia's performance overseas. There's no complaints from anyone, except 60 Minutes. Yeah. The chain of command, we get the job done. Australia was considered to be highly successful in their tour of Afghanistan, including their withdrawal. Everything they've done. Okay? Our chain of command is great. However, it only takes one person at the highest levels to put a taint of lowered standards or force protection in that is not in line with the capabilities. I can question it. I can have my own frustrations with it. At the moment, mine is just stop dropping capabilities because the officer doesn't know how to be an instructor. I'm an instructor. You know, I am the guy at the bottom. I understand what it feels like at the bottom level to be the guy that understands when we're missing one person, whether it be through injury, whether it be through attitude, whether it be through fitness, the equipment still needs to be carried, and I still need to be able to get there within a period of time between point A and B that my commander above me is asking. He doesn't give a shit about the capabilities that were asked for by DFR. He doesn't care about the goddamn quota that is sneaking in. All he cares is that you were at point B and that you were part of the plan, part of the puzzle that allows him to meet his timelines, to be able to give a capability, to be able to either be the assaulting force, be part of the main effort to take a position, or to be part of the support force, or to be part of the ambushing group that's going to carry out destruction mission. Okay. There's going to be no excuses. You can't. when you don't make it, say, but we had to move at the speed of our slowest, and our slowest was moving at the speed of someone who was a quota.
Yeah.
Or someone that was former gap year, or someone from Army Reserve that it didn't actually go through all of those levels. We allowed them to jump through without testing them, and then they didn't actually understand because we didn't ask the right questions because it was training shortfalls. Right. There's a reaction to every action, and it's not about feelings.
Exactly, there is.
Yeah.
Ray May says he's 33, and yeah, it's a long story. But he says it was worth it for his quality of life. Thanks for being honest, Kaz.
Mate, that's awesome. I think I'm sure there's a great story behind it, mate. And you're clearly not letting it finish you.
You know what? Let us know how you go. Because sometimes you guys, educate us by what you experience.
Absolutely. I fully concur with that. And we get spanners thrown in the works all the time. We do. And a little bit more, because I pulled away from the question before accidentally, I got sidetracked, was let me explain quickly why I gave illegal punishments to people. I got sidetracked. An illegal punishment is a punishment that is not a formal punishment as part of the military discipline system or the judicial system, okay? The military justice system, etc. Whether that be taking your weekend away, taking money away, charging you, blemishing your record, etc. If I've got Keely working for me or her son, I don't want to affect his career by his F-up unless he did it in a deliberate means or manner. If it's drugs, I ain't covering it. I'm not going to help you. You made an active choice to do that.
That's right.
Right. But if you were late, for example, and that is not characteristic of you, okay, if you did something incorrect, a slip up, well, guess what? I will do every punishment that I gave you. If it's push-ups, I'll do it with you. We've got a guy who's a fantastic photographer now on Instagram. His name is Weaver. Lovely guy, real beatnik sort of guy. I really dig him. We threw him out of the battalion, picked him up and chucked him out as a sense of humour when he was leaving when everyone was overseas. And I told him to get a haircut. It was 2 days before the holiday period was about to begin, the 6 weeks off, 6 to 8 weeks off. He didn't get his hair cut, and neither did his compadre. He loved his hair. He goes to Byron Bay, probably on the devil's lettuce, don't know. And anyway, I said, mate, I told you to get a haircut, and you didn't get a haircut, did you? And he goes, Sarge, no, I didn't get one. I went, why not? And he goes, because I wanted my hair to be like this for holidays. And I went, so you disobeyed a lawful command, which if you want to go down this way, you won't have holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll stay behind here and you'll be working out of the goddamn guard room. Or you can take my punishment now. And he's going, what's your punishment? I said, well, what's going to happen is, in front of everyone, you and I are going to do a push-up duel.
Ooh.
And if you can beat me in the amount of push-ups in 1 minute, then you really, really, really wanted your hair to stay. But if I beat you, then that means you really didn't want your hair in the first place. And I'll even give you a tip. I'll go first because it's always easier to chase a score. I was a push-up machine. I'm sorry, team. I got down and I did maximum push-ups I could do in 1 minute. He had to follow it. He didn't make the mark. So someone give me some clippers and just one zzz through the center of his hair.
Yep.
Down at number 2. Now you can go and give yourself another haircut to finish it off. But you've still got all your holidays. I hope you learnt your lesson, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? The same thing happened to me. I didn't get my hair cut, and Joe MacGyver, the RSM of the unit,
Heard a lot about
said he's a lovely guy. Love the man.
Yep.
Soldier. But he called me out in front of 1,000 people and said, Sergeant Caswell, come out here. That haircut that you didn't get, do you remember that? And I went, oh, sir, yes. He goes, you're going to get it now, dickhead. And he goes, clippers. It was amazing how quick they turned up. This must have been a setup. And old Kaz is getting his hair brushed with bloody, I think it was a number 1. I look like Sinead O'Connor, but these things were as blunt as the words I use on a brand new soldier who turns up late. And it was like, whoop, cutting.
The hair out.
He made a mess. And again, threw me the clippers and said, finish them off yourself, son. At the time I was thinking, this is shit. But it's nothing I hadn't done to others.
No, exactly.
Do you know the biggest punishment I used to give to people? Was if you didn't say hello to a senior rank in the chain of command.
That's fair enough.
If I initiate a conversation with you, g'day mate, how you going? And you don't say hello back, come here.
Yeah.
Everything just changed. Come here, get your feet together, shut your mouth, listen in. At what stage do you not even return a favourable formality between people that took the time to give you some time? So what's going to happen is, it's all about time. You've got 4 minutes to run the kilometre around the base and be back where we're here now, or it means you want to do it again. They always made it in the 4 minutes. And then every time they saw you after that, it got to the stage where everywhere I walk, g'day Kaz, or Sarge, g'day mate, how you going? And all of a sudden, courtesy came back to the battalion in a flash. But I'll do everything that I ask you to do. Everything. You will take my punishment or take the charge.
Yeah. You owe us a sprout too, don't forget.
I do owe you a sprout. But you remember what I said. The reason we've just hit 11,000 subscribers, thank you very much. But the reason why I said I won't celebrate having 10,000 subscribers is because we've got record low views at the moment. You know, if you've got record low views, then you're celebrating 10,000 while actually only getting an average of 550 views.
Yeah, come on, guys.
So that looks weird.
Yeah.
That's no cry for me, Argentina. That's a fair cop, isn't it?
They're part of the community, though. We'd like them to interact more.
Absolutely. And I will eat the Brussels sprout with you.
Yeah.
And we'll call that my illegal punishment on myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave D, don't be a root. Yeah, that's right. You know, Keely, I bet it's happened to you before. And Josh, when you're walking down the street and you see someone and a little bit of eye contact happens, say, g'day, mate. And then they don't say anything back. Or when you get your coffee at McDonald's and they just hold the machine out like it's a breathalyzer and they don't even acknowledge that you just asked them, how was their day, hello. That dirty feeling that you have where you just want to force them to eat a potato. A frozen potato covered in poultice from the Second Fleet.
Have an oatmeal poultice.
Dave D, he likes sprouts. Hey, a couple of bits of random information for him. Okay, I want to see a thumbs up right now, team, if you've heard of the Ram TRX V8 truck that's coming to Australia next year.
I have not heard of that.
V8, 700 plus horsepower.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's coming to Australia fleet level, which means it's not going to be the price of a Raptor.
Yeah.
130 for top of the line, they're saying. 130,000. That is cheap as buggery. You know, for a massive multi-ton truck. You know, it is beautiful. Second one, the GoPro 10 is about to come out, and they believe this is better. You know, watch Peter McKinnon than any GoPro before it, and it's got twice the resolution of an iPhone for photos, but you can take it underwater deeper than what you can the iPhone. The video, amazing. You know, I believe that every platoon and every troop, every squadron should have someone that they allocate as a photographer. So every time you go on a trip, there's times where you can go, just make sure you come back with 2 or 3 photos on landscape and 3 on portrait of everyone within that organisation. So one day you've got something to look back on your career to be able to give to your children. Because one of my biggest regrets, I don't have any photos of me pretty much of my entire military career.
A lot of you guys before the mobile phone sort of era don't have a lot of photos.
Yeah.
A bit sad, yeah. Snako has asked a question.
Yep.
Snako said, hey Kaz, what's your thoughts on Orcas and the Australian nuclear submarine program that's proposed?
Absolute fan. I'm an absolute fan of Orcas because we were assuming, but it wasn't being said, that we're allies and friends with certain countries. It needed to be re-stamped. And that handshake needed to happen again to tell everyone else in the world who are the boys, that are sticking together. They've left the Five Eyes. I'm not sure if this is going to affect New Zealand and Canada. They're too woke for their own good. At this stage, they've been left out. And it's Australia, UK, and the USA as the Trinity. But that means that there's also a whole bunch of the friends that they bring, like South Korea, like Japan, like France, like Germany. You name all the countries that come with it, a united front.
Yeah, exactly.
You should never look at it politically as, but I don't want to be with them. Because I tell you what, you're going to need friends in the next 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. And folks, politics isn't like sport. It's not like you pick your team and you stick with it, although a lot of people seem to be treating politics like a sport instead of an actual having a good hard look at what everybody is offering.
It is true. Yep, and be willing to switch if they give a better capability to the country. Because if the country is happy, we're happy. Rowdy B, my stretcher brother. Rowdy B was with me for all of my career from Rwanda onwards, and every pretty much reunion ever since. You don't need a red ram. You're better suited to a lamb. I hope you don't mean Lamborghini. I haven't got back hair. You have to have back hair if you're going to get in a Lamborghini. Man, I love the idea of the truck and also the van. Choosing which one do you get into. Different version of Kaz each day.
Yeah, exactly. Residential Yeti has said, hey Kaz, I'm 23 and considering the military police in the army. Is it worth it?
No. No. I would say no. The reason is the military police are not like police. When something is serious enough, the military police just hand it off to police. So you're going to be dealing with domestic bullshit, like people not wearing a hat, or like people going 42 kilometres an hour in a 40 zone on the base, dealing with alcohol-related incidents, and if they get bad enough, again, they go to the civilian police. Having said that, and there's no guarantee, if you go there, you can get a job with attack dogs, you can get a job with route clearances, etc., and being close point protection and all of that. But I don't know what you would get out of MPs. I used to sleep with one. She hated her job. Yeah.
Someone very wise once explaining MPs to me said even their families don't like them.
I've got a lot of friends that have been in MPs and they didn't like it, mate, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest with you, Do it. Do it if that's the only way you're going to get a uniform and get in. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where are we up to? Let me have a look. David Penson has said, I grew a rock garden up Mount Stewart with my, is that SQN? And we watered it every week and they loved me. We carried rocks and jerry can of water up and down that bloody hill, but we were strong and battle ready.
It's punishments is what he's talking about. Rock gardens were made by people carrying rocks to positions within a certain amount of time, okay, and then potentially going there and painting it to teach them a lesson, give them some out-of-body experience.
Indeed.
What else we got? Appreciate the honesty, brother. Residential, mate, we have to.
Yeah. That's why we're here. We would be failing you if we just told you what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's right. And through infantry to special forces. Okay, Kobe Smith, my favourite bit of steak. Dudes, you should see Kobe 5, not Kobe, Wagyu 5, the Matt Stoney. We'll get back to you in a second, Kobe. Matt Stoney is one of the world's premier eaters of food. It was disgusting to watch him eating nearly $14,000 worth of Wagyu A5 Type 12 steak like an absolute pig. He ate 8 steaks in 5 minutes. Nearly $14,000 worth of meat, for a video. You're going, dude, you got to respect good quality food like that most people never have in their lifetime. I thought of that when I saw the name Kobe, but I actually meant Wagyu there.
Yeah, because there's a few people talking about they haven't even joined yet, and they're saying, how long should I be in the infantry before I go to SF? Well, first, you've got to do it in stages. So if we need to remind you of that, please don't think too far ahead.
The most fun you will have as an officer and as an enlisted soldier will be your first 4 to 8 years down in the bottom ranks, down in the trenches, because it's about mateship. It's about the tools. It's about everything that you wanted to join for. When you go for Special Forces, it is a one-way valve that once you go down there and you get in, the expectation, the staying on the top of the mountain like this guy here, okay, is hard. It's hard to stay there. You know, it costs a certain amount of horsepower. It costs a certain amount of life sacrifice to the career instead of family. It's probably like someone that, what do you call it? When they go into a criminal entity and they say blood in, blood out, but then you get old enough to realise that, oh shit, now I feel like a dickhead for saying that I don't actually believe what I signed up for. It's take your time and go to the infantry. If you want to go to Special Forces, learn how to hunt humans, you know, learn weapons, you know, and you will know sooner or later within the mix, am I the sort of person I can look in the mirror and say, I'm Special Forces material? Because when you see these guys that are 1 in 2,782 in Australia, there's not many of yous that go to infantry. You might realise these guys are bigger, tougher, and more capable than I thought, and I want to be at the pinnacle of them. I don't think I've got that in me. How about I just stay in Charlie Company?
Yeah, it's easy to think you're special before you get in and see your competition.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it is really, really. And also, if you're looking to be like a sniper, I don't think you need to be Special Forces to be in sniper.
And as a matter of fact, Felix, the cat, the wonderful, wonderful cat, has just been nominated. He's one of our subscribers, has just been nominated, and now he's going to for his sniper course.
Awesome. That is so good.
Yeah, I've told him, go and speak to Harry, you know, master sniper who knows everything you need to about that trade, and hopefully he goes and has that conversation because I'm willing to vouch for him.
Yep, and love to the lovely Vicky if you're watching this.
Yeah, lovely Vicky.
She is lovely.
Sydney Shore, I can't afford that one. Sydney Shore. That's expensive real estate. That's expensive real estate right there. Jay Hayes is here. Not cerebral palsy.
Can I just remind folk, instead of like, some of you have this mindset, which we've had to talk about before. You're not the first lot to sort of come through here, but I notice there's quite a few sort of newish names. And I know you're all really keen, and God bless you for that, because you're ready for a big adventure. But it's not really even so much I'm going to join the infantry and then Special Forces. It's more a case of, does the infantry want you? It is very, very competitive.
It can be easier to get in, hard to stay.
Exactly. And do think of it like a job interview when you go about this process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is one of the things, when we talk about the chain of command, because that was what tonight's issue we're talking about, you got to remember the chain of command, the people at the very top haven't heard the truth for a goddamn long time, because they're listening to the sounds of the goats coming up the mountain that are in their circle of not influence, the people that want their job one day, the people that will tell them what they want to hear right now, and the truth won't get through. You know, the first thing that happens when a commander of a high level is coming to speak to the soldiers, he wants to speak to the actual soldiers. But what will happen is normally the chain of command will stand around and amongst in plain view of the lowest ranks in a way of they're standing up, we're sitting down, to be able to remind you, be careful what you say, son.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, let's not go and make a mistake and spit the truth out, shall we? So if we don't have a voice, and we're not allowed to have a voice on Facebook, and we're not allowed to have a voice on Instagram, and then when our boss comes to speak to us, we're not allowed to have a voice to him, and then you wonder why the army doesn't want to talk, or why do they just take it if they're not guilty? You go, they're not allowed to talk by law until you're up to a certain level. and then they seem to go off at the mouth and speak and represent all of us on the exact opposite of what we stand for or the reason why we joined. Yeah.
Exactly.
No one has a shorter career than a brave officer. Think of it that way.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to think of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darcy Keeley says he's going to Darwin.
Going to Darwin. I hope he's a good-looking kid. He'd better be a good-looking kid because up there, he's competing with the USMC.
Oh, no, he's a fine-looking lad.
He better be better looking and have more game than the Marines because up there...
I've seen him. He's a fine-looking young man. He's going to be fine. He'll have it falling out of his pockets. He'll be fine.
And if you're a girl and you can't find a guy, you need to get up to Darwin stat because if you're a 4 out of 10, you'll be a 10 out of 10 up there.
Yeah, exactly. Know your ratios, ladies, and go to the areas where it's easy fishing.
Well, there's a thing that they call, no matter where we are, whether it's Timor, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's Iraq, whether it's Rwanda, whether it's Sinai, where you are called Sinai pretty or Timor pretty or whatever. So you can have someone with boots on who goes, I feel like a goddamn supermodel over here, as they smoke a cigarette overhand, put it out on their tongue, and some guy's pledging his love for her until they get home, then all of a sudden it's, you look different. So far in life, one of the best experiences I've had was going to PNG and trekking Kokoda with a group of friends from school. There you go, eldest. Did you know that there's several paths that they won't tell you about where they actually look at the group and decide they're not up to the task? So they'll give different groups easier paths but never actually tell you about it?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. That's tricksy.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, very smart.
And one of the sad things is you hear some of the tours that go there, it's got nothing to do with the immersion of history into the Kokoda Trail. It's about the physical journey of conquering something that is a challenge. You go, it should always be, touch this rock. What happened on this day in this year? This was the exact point that the Australians stopped the Japanese and turned them around and then started the Al Pacino clawback and saved our nation. Not that, but Japan never had the forces that they could have held Australia anyway. I don't know what they were doing. It was like a small dog chasing a big cat. They wouldn't have known what to do once they got to Australia anyway. They have a hard time walking across the road safely. All you got to do is put a road in front of them. They wouldn't have all made it across.
Come on now. But I don't think it would take away from the physical challenge that it is to stop and learn the history as you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A physical challenge for them folk.
Yep. Because that humidity, right, and how cold it gets, plus the hills, plus your body, plus the jungle trying to destroy you, there is no easy way to do Kokoda. No easy way at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a soldier. It doesn't matter if you're a civilian. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor. Everyone will have their own individual journey inside the herd that's on the trail and will all come back Rashomon effect and tell you a completely different story to each other, despite the fact they are at exactly the same place at exactly the same time. And that's why personal witness accounts are often considered to be not reliable. Have you heard about that before, the Rashomon effect?
No, just explain it again. I might have heard about it.
It's worth looking up, team. When people tell you, oh, I was there, you go, all right. Yeah. If there's 10 people and an accident occurs, every one of them has a different bearing, a different view, a different perspective, a different recollection of where they were within that problem. So when the police ask all 10 people to split up, give me a statement, you can end up with 10 completely different statements, but they'll look for trends of information that was the same in all 10.
Yeah, exactly. If it's too similar, they'll know something's dodgy.
Well, you're going to have someone you've heard of Munchausen before.
Yeah, of course.
The Munchausen effect. You're going to have some people that absolutely relish being part of something horrible because it makes an otherwise uneventful life all of a sudden exciting. So
exactly.
Someone that has any sort of Munchausen traits, is going to definitely, overplay the trauma of something to be able to, potentially, what do you call it? Becomes who they are.
Yep, exactly. Sorry, I'm just.
Can we speak to Jordan Towner there? Kaz, did you hear about USMC Lieutenant Colonel Scheller? Can he really be imprisoned for starting the lawsuit against the High Command? Yes. That will still occur, but at the end of the day, he still, regardless of the fact of what he said is true, he still went to outside sources and undermined the military, the USMC, and he knew that. And he said that as he was making that statement. Does it make him amazing? I still don't know. This is a guy who has just also, lost all of his pension, okay, is going to get a dishonourable discharge for going outside of the chain of command to be able to speak on military matters to people that don't necessarily understand what they're looking at. And is potentially, they might say, you brought discredit to the USMC. Which is United States Marine Corps. He's looking at, from his own words, that could be up to $2 million with ongoing pension for life, because he'd done 17 years and needed to do 3 before he gets to retain that, regardless of what the outcome of his career is. So it's going to cost him a lot. But as we know, no matter how big a story is, Michael Jackson just died, you're only pertinent for a couple of months, a couple of days, a punchline on Twitter, and then when people don't know what your name is anymore, but your family has still lost the pension, your family has still lost the payout, the superannuation, was it worth it? It's tough. If they did a crowdfund for him, I would put money in, because that's the kind of leadership that gets you home alive, or at least allows you to put your hat badge on the coffin of your brother that passed and say it was worth it. The fight was righteous. Okay, we made a difference.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Be able to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just see where we're up to. Sorry, I was a bit caught up in something.
You're right.
In chat. They're talking about the War Memorial. How valuable is that when they visit the War Memorial?
It is probably, it is meant to be, and I could imagine that would be the most, should be, if you've got the maturity for it, hardest hitting situation you have. And I'll explain that. Okay. What it does is it imbues the footsteps of the Anzacs. When you see the 103,000 dead on the walls that take up 2 walls, covered in poppies for respect, when you see a child that's putting a poppy into a name of someone they don't know, or maybe even their poppy, a poppy for poppy, and the silence that is there. It is a reminder that now you have uniform, you are now 100% more likely to be on that wall one day than someone that is just visiting that wall. Now the names feel like they're speaking to you. You understand the importance of lest we forget. You understand the sacrifice that was given by so many below the age of 21 that gave up their chance for love, of children, of a better tomorrow, or any tomorrow. And we're not even talking about the wounded yet. And when you go there, it becomes real. It really does. And when you look at, I know it's a little bit sad that the first thing you want to do is go and look at the most recent. You're going to see names on there and understand that every one of them was standing exactly where you are right now, and their name wasn't on the motherfucking wall. But now it is. Some of them might have been looking at that wall a year earlier, 2 years earlier, 10 years earlier, and their name wasn't there. And now, like some movie, you can picture their name is slowly coming there, and you're watching your own name start to appear on that wall. And it's all under the name of a campaign, an operation, a theatre, a threat theatre that you've never even heard of yet until you go on Google Earth and go, we're going to be fighting in 3 years' time in where? And I'm on the wall of honour. What's going to happen between now and then? Exactly. And then you find out, sadly, that you end up dying in Morocco on a ration-packed chicken bone. And you go, I don't want to go like that. I want to be like Lieutenant Dan.
You know, everyone's one club sandwich away from,
copping a prick in the mouth.
Yes.
And that's no Navy joke.
I wasn't going to say it like that, but you said it, though. I also think every Australian resident should make a pilgrimage to the War Memorial at some time or another, or every couple of years.
Do you know who needs to spend more time up there is the goddamn politicians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
They need to spend more time thinking about their job properly.
Yep. Because when they look outside the Parliament House, at the other end of the street is the War Memorial. You know, the place where their inability to make a proper decision and parlay with a level with an oppo country results in the red, white and blue being laid across a wooden casket and hopefully bringing someone home back for their family with honour and being able to say, I can categorically look you in the eye, Mr. Taylor, and tell you your son didn't die for nothing.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm not ashamed to stand in front of you and tell you that he did his job, I did my job, and you can hold your head up high and say, lest we forget, and I'll put an arm around you every Anzac Day if that's what it takes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that it wasn't in vain.
That's right.
Hi, Timmy.
Lieutenant Dan Jubei.
Yeah, exactly.
Timmy.
Nice to see Timmy here.
If we're gonna volunteer, we deserve good leadership. That's what I'll say. That's the statement. We deserve the best leadership, the most honest leadership, the most unemotional leadership. Okay, for the volunteers. That's what they deserve. Moral courage above them. We deserve someone that can stand face to face with a politician and say this is bullshit, but still respect the chain of command. Milley, if he didn't respect the chain of command, if he was running blue blood Democrat Pepsi motherfucker, pardon the language, through his soul, then he should have said something or he should have resigned from his position. But he didn't do that. He took the money, he took the olives, he took all the accolades, and do you know who he rang?
Who?
Nancy Pelosi. They had a big conversation. The opposition party wasn't in power. You have no obligation to speak to old bubblegum false teeth herself. There is no reason for you to be having those conversations, even if it wasn't an engaging conversation. She is not in your realm. She wasn't in power.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy has been clearly, or potentially, has been semi-thrown under a bus, had the power going to his head, has been drip-fed a feeling of godlike existence, you know, and the inability for someone to stand up and say he's wrong, you know, it left us where we are now. And I wish him, I could say I wish him well, but at the same time, I hope that justice is served.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know much about communications system operator, Kaz?
Well, that sounds like a SIG.
Yeah.
And that's Buckarooni's. He was a squadron.
Oh, there you go. Strike W. So if Mr. Buckarooni's still here or next time he's here, get on to him about that question. And also thank you, Nicole King, for helping Charmaine with some of those lady questions.
Oh.
Yeah, Brady's here.
Hey, Brady, how you going, mate? How's the family going, mate? Are you guys in lockdown? We're 3 months now. 3 months.
That's a long time. That's 12 weeks.
I feel like a Yeti's armpit. Townsville. You got to go to Townsville, team. You got to go to Townsville. The next stream or a video I'm about to put out is why you have to go to Townsville. I had a great conversation with a young fella, and Keely's probably going, it's too late, he's going to Darwin. But someone was going, I want to go to Darwin. You go, why? Why would you rather go to Darwin, where the houses and the real estate's twice the price of Townsville? Where, you know, it's as hot as a short soup. You know, where you're so far away from everyone, it's almost like you're missing 411. Where there's not enough girls to be in a losing female World Cup soccer team. I don't know. Townsville, on the other hand, the Strand, cheap as hell, brand new housing. Cactus Jacks, Castle Hill, 4 metres short of a mountain.
Say no more. Cactus Jacks, you had me at that.
That's right. No one puts Cactus Jacks in the corner. Keely's still here. Oh, no. He was adamant. I wonder if there was someone from his course, Keely, that was going to Darwin. Interesting.
Yeah, the lad's got to make up his own mind, though.
Elders has got to go, and so do we. Not just to the toilet. Okay, I've got 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes I'll give you.
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, come on. You did such a great job at helping me do a longer stream today. Let's go a little bit longer.
That was a fun stream. We had a good a live stream today with Lauren, and I want to do this soon with you guys. Learn how to do a Zoom live session where I can have Brady Bunch, a whole bunch of you guys, because I can't stand things like Discord. But I'd be more than happy to have 4, 6 or more, a Brady Bunch worth of people on there.
Brady Bunch was fun.
Yeah. So you can ask questions. So if you've got a face for YouTube, and you can hold up a conversation and keep the language to a minimum, swearing, and represent yourself on issues, and you're not going to put yourself in a position of compromise because you're either in the military, in the police, etc., then I'd be more than happy to have you on here representing yourself. Yeah. Oh, faithful true.
Have a good sleep, lovely lady.
Nicole, your present should be there any day. I sent it days ago. I hope you're stoked with it.
Yeah.
It's not a colostomy bag.
Yeah. Joshua, it works with you just download Zoom and then you would get sent an invite, and that invite would expire after the meeting was done.
Yeah, that's right. So basically what it would be is I would contact you, give you a phone call and say, are you good tonight? And then what I do is I would send a text as a group to those people, which I'll delete straight after that, and say the email's coming out. If you ain't there, you ain't there.
Yeah,
exactly. Have a clean background behind you. All right, set yourself up. Don't be standing just like so.
Yeah, you don't want to get modded from the Zoom chat. That would be embarrassing.
Get an online arse smacking.
Yeah, exactly. Good night, David Penson.
Good night, mate. All the best in Nam. Yeah. Don't eat the tarantula with the half-cooked guts.
No, the incubated duck. Yeah, have a good sleep. Stay safe.
I am not Alice. Where was that? Was that Kobe?
It was probably Stephen Webb, I think. That sounds like something you'd say.
Steve, what? Nah, don't retract it, mate. Leave it up there. Have the stones. It's all good.
It's been called worse by bigger Stephen Webb. Don't worry about it.
Stoddy, the longest texter, he's got their Carl P over face for email.
Come on now.
Brady Cars in a body for manpower. There you go. There you go. Guys and gals, I feel a little bit bad speaking about Mr. Milley here, but at the end of the day, when you are insubordinate to your commander openly for political reasons and ultimately there is dead soldiers on your watch, I'm sorry, I can't throw you a bone.
Why do you feel bad? What is making you feel bad about it?
Because he can't defend himself from me.
Yeah, but...
I don't want to be one of those people that piles on top, but at the same time, people need a voice.
We weren't able to defend ourselves from his decision.
Yeah.
So, that's a two-way street.
Do you want me to tell you a story?
Yes, please.
I'll tell you a quick story, Dave. Did you know that when we went to Inifet, one of the things was Inifet or Untayet? It might have been Untayet in 2002. It might have been. We were under the current chief of the Defence Force, Angus Campbell. And basically we'd been taught all our lives in a military career that those at Tobruk knew how to handle the tropics well. You go for a swim. You cool the body. You take your shirt off. You allow your body to cool so that the fungus and all the different things can't set on your body. Go for a swim. The salt water's excellent and all that sort of shit. We got to East Timor and it's over 40 degrees, or feels over 40 degrees every day because you're wearing body armor, equivalent of. You're wearing a 50, 60 kilo pack. You've got your equipment on you all the time in this extremely 100% humidity daily temperature. And we were told from someone who spends all of his time inside a CP control post or in a helicopter with great ventilation that no, you just can't have a swim by law while you're over here because it would look bad if someone was ever injured or lost their life and it ended up on 60 minutes. So all of the people that were in danger, that were doing everything we had to do, the one thing that we could have had got taken away from us because it could have made him look bad. And ultimately, he ended up, throwing a scandal out there that's now unresolved through 60 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not how it should be.
That's another one of those chain of command. You can't do or say anything about it. You go, why didn't you tell me you were going to make decisions like that when I was volunteering?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, there's politics in everything.
There is, in everything. You can't even, if you're a young mother and you go to a playgroup, there's politics and a pecking order.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you go, every organisation should have a pecking order. Otherwise, it's chaos.
Yep. Well, there's a chain of command in the family, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure.
Mum has the loudest voice when we're all inside the house.
Yeah.
But when it's time for danger, Mum needs to shut her mouth and do what she's told by Dad.
Yeah,
because Dad's going to stay on the Titanic.
Yeah, exactly. Mum should just be able to shoot the kids a look and they'll know what it means.
I'm glad you finished that sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
Be able to shoot the kids. I was like...
Shoot a look at them
yeah.
and they should know exactly that they've gone too far.
Yeah. Guys and gals, you are being represented by fantastic people in this military and the police force and the paramedics. But there'll be a time of opportunity where you can either shine or go dull. And some people go dull. And when that happens, when the chain of command is breaking down because of an individual, then that individual has to go. And that should be done without emotion. Sorry, mate, got to cut the cancer out. There we go. Guys and gals, thank you very much for tonight. Understand that you can sleep well knowing that Ozcook, Orcas, they've got to change that name. Yes. Or add another country just to change it up a bit.
I know. Or maybe we could just change the order, like Ulsac or something would have been better.
Ulsac! Something. But you guys and gals take it easy. Like if you do. If you don't, put a thumbs down and say something witty in the comments later. But we're here to represent you in the absence of anyone else. This is a lot better than Facebook. I'm too manly to go on TikTok. I couldn't do it.
You're going to TikTok by the end of next year, I bet.
Yeah. If you're a man, go and check out the TRX Ram. Come to Australia next year. And when in doubt, if you love the water sports, then consider buying a Hero 10. We'd probably give one away, actually, from the channel. So that we can give one family a chance to go and catch their memories in the ocean. Cold water. Give it in winter, Kaz.
Yeah.
If you're inland, drop it in the toilet. Bombs away. Bombs away. 240 frames a second. Just here it comes. Boom. Anyway. Would you like to say good night to the team and finish it off for us, please, Lauren?
Certainly. I'll finish off. Okay. So thank you, Kaz, for the stream very much. As always, it was really great to always get your insight. Thank you, moderators, for keeping the place tidy. Thank you, members, for being awesome supporters of the channel. Thank you to everyone who's in Patreon. Sorry about the little cow. Spare a thought for poor old Daz there. Thank you to all the new folks who came in and behaved so nicely. And thank you to all the old regulars. And good night to all the lurkers out there who've never chatted yet.
That's right. And all you got to do is press the subscribe button. You'll be able to type in case you're wondering what's going on. But chances are you're watching it on a TV anyway. So take it easy.
Could be.
And guys and gals, you really keep me occupied. And this is your version of Joe Rogan. Now we're just going to put some of you guys in the hot seat and ask you the right questions. Take it easy and peace to your mother.